Well, this is Business Nigeria. Nigeria's tax reforms is underway, with 4 executive bills currently before the National Assembly. The bills are the Nigerian Tax Bill, which replaces existing tax laws with a modern framework, the Nigerian Tax Administration Act Amendment Bill, which seeks to strengthen the enforcement powers of the Federal Inland Revenue Service, the Nigerian Revenue Service Bill, establishing an independent revenue service, and the Joint Revenue Establishment Bill, for the purpose of fostering inter-agency collaboration. Meanwhile, the National Executive Council is recommending the withdrawal of the 4 tax reforms bills sent to the Parliament by President Bola Tinubu. A lot of issues are being raised. But let's understand what this bill means and what it stands for. And to help us do this, I have the President of the Chartered Institute of Taxation of Nigeria, Mr. Samuel Agbeluyi. He joins me live from Abuja via Zoom. Good afternoon, Mr. President. It's good to have you on the program.
Good afternoon, Tolu. Good to be in your midst this afternoon.
Yes, I really appreciate this, despite your tight schedule. Let's start with your understanding of what's been happening with regards to the Taiwo Yedele-led committee. A lot of work has gone into that committee, talking about the policy paper and all that has happened before now. Now I am asking you that, what do you make of the documentation before we now move forward? This is supposed to help streamline our tax processes.
Thank you very much. You will agree with me that revenue has been our major headache in the country for quite some time now. The revenue from oil is almost as good as not existing, and the debt is mounting. So the wise thing to do is to make sure that we increase the revenue sources for government. And I must say that the Federal Inland Revenue Service has done very well in this regard in recent times. So to the extent that the president of this country, Asiwaju Bola Ahmed Tinubu, GCFR, has recognized the fact that he needs to put a kind of sanity within the tax system in the country. A presidential committee was set up, and the report of that committee is what we are deliberating on today. So it's the way to go. We need to make sure that we streamline the tax system in the country, so that the country can benefit more from tax revenue. There's no point going the way we are going, because we are going in the wrong direction. So I see this bill that is just be withdrawn as the way to go, as the right way to go. Notwithstanding the reservation here and there, the reservations will be sorted out, and Nigeria will move forward at the end of the day.
Because let's start with this proposed, the one that has to change the name of the FRS to Nigerian Revenue Service. I'm looking at it, that what really can you explain to us, what do we stand as Nigerians to gain if that happens? The FRS has been doing its job, collecting all of the funds.
Well, thank you. The change of name is symbolic and it's important. You will agree with me, if you have been in the business space in the country before now, the way many government agencies are going to got into the arena, if I may use that, if I may say it that way, focusing on revenue collection rather than focusing on their job, as the law has given them has asked them to do. So the revenue collection should be the business of the Federal Inland Revenue Service. They have the wherewithal to do that, and they've been doing that over the years, instead of allowing the proliferation of revenue collections across the federal various government agencies, which has actually shifted their focus from their main goals. So this will help the country at the end of the day, bring everything into a pool. That's the essence of taxation in the first instance, or revenue collection. Bring everything into a pool, and it can be budgeted for as to how it will be spent. So this is the right step in the right direction. And we believe the government, the federal government, we need a lot of willpower in this area beyond the signing of the law, because we know those who have benefited from the proper handling of this revenue collection over the years will not let go without a fight. But suffice to say that this is a good step, and we support the step taken in this direction by the federal government.
So if we are to say that eliminating multiple taxation is what we've talked about, we saw what businesses have complained about with regards to multiple taxations, taxes and levies and all of that. Do you think that this will definitely address this, now particularly for small businesses?
There are a lot of, about that for me, that's about that represents a major aspect or benefit of this bill, accepting small businesses from payment of taxes. And before now, through the instrumentality of Finance Act, the benchmark for exemption from the payment of company income tax was 25 million by virtue of the current bill at the National Assembly, or the withdrawn one. That figure has moved to 50 million. It only speaks to the fact that the government is looking at giving breathing space to small businesses so that they can thrive. And of course, once they thrive and they do very well, they do business beyond 50 million turnover in a year, then of course they come into the tax net, and it will be good. So it's like giving prosperity, a line of prosperity to small and middle scale businesses to thrive and live so that they can go about complying and complying with the government in terms of their obligation to the country. So it's the way to go. It's good. It is encouraged, but there are a lot of beyond what is going on in the National Assembly. There will be need for a lot of advocacy. We have started from our end at the Institute, and we must point out at this point that the edict of the small and medium business enterprise in Nigeria, and even the big one, has not is not limited to the type of taxes they pay to government, whether it be federal or state, but the taxes collected by the non-state actor. The government needs to prepare for this. Otherwise, whatever we do, if we streamline at the end of the day and everybody knows what to do, FRS will always follow the law, and they will pay they will collect what they are supposed to collect. Various state internal revenue services, we are aware of that. They will always collect what they are supposed to collect. But if we leave the non-state actor unchecked and they keep on harassing the people, blocking the road, and doing all those things that you cannot, that has no place in the professional practice, then of course we will not be achieving what we intend to achieve. So the government should not lose sight that the job has just begun. We need to eliminate the non-state actor who are giving taxation a bad name in this country over the years.
Now, the most controversial aspect of this bill is the proposed derivation-based VAT distribution. Do you think this is enough to, looking at all that this committee has put together? Is this enough to think that nothing has been done, or to underrate the report? Did you get my question, Mr. President?
Yes, I got part of it. If that is enough, the
yes, because this is a lot of work has been done here, but the particular clauses, the issue about this VAT distributable derivation-based distribution, that seems to be the bone of contention here.
For me, and as an institute, we leave the politicians to do their job, and of course, that is necessary. I'm actually happy that stakeholders call them state governors, call them local government, and even the federal government, and even the professional institute. Everybody should be interested in this bill and everybody should come to the table to argue their case. So it's even good that stakeholders are showing interest in this, and depending on the way you see things, we are educated, we are knowledgeable, not to allow things to be dumped on our table. We are knowledgeable, we are educated because we can argue things out, we can bring our perspective. So it's good that people are showing interest and they are bringing their perspective. At the end of the day, reasonability, knowledge will prevail, and we look at things. And for a complex country like Nigeria, I tell you, there will be need for compromise. I listened to the governor of Oyo State, who spoke on behalf of the state governors after the meeting yesterday. The stakeholders need to meet again. I'm aware in the process of this consummating these various bills, stakeholders were met, but the devil is always in the details. It won't be a bad idea. What the economic group has said recently, that the bill should be withdrawn. Let it be withdrawn. Let everybody come to the table and make case as to how it will be win-win for everybody. Everybody in Nigeria must be carried along. That is basic. You can't develop and leave the other people. We must all be carried along. And there are ways of doing this. So I agree, and I thank the government for withdrawing. So let us look at it. It's not sufficient at all. The derivation issue can be sorted out, giving benefit to everybody to win. And once that is done, then we go back to the National Assembly and ensure that the benefit of VAT, which are enormous as the technical aspect, which are enormous for Nigerian business to thrive. The way VAT was practiced or administered in the country before now was just like it says stars, and that was not favorable to the business community. I would rather want we look at that while the politician will sort out the derivation aspect. For me, and our position is that everybody must be carried along. It's a country, and we all need to develop. Beyond the derivation and the sharing, I am happy to say that the VAT we promote business, and that is what we need. And it's going to bring a lot of certainty to VAT administration in the country. If you have international clients and you have advised them over the years, for those of us who are in tax practice, you know, international investors are not too comfortable with the way VAT is practiced in the country. So we rather focus on that, while the aspect of the sharing can be done by the political leaders.
Indeed. Taking advantage of technology at this time is key. We also see that even the FRS has been moving so much in that direction. How is the Institute helping to also equip members to key into technological advancement across the tax system or tax administration?
Thank you for this question. I always like input, process, and output. If you garbage in, garbage out, that's the language we were taught when we were learning computer. So now, if what you don't have, you can't give. So as an institute, we pride ourselves as a knowledge-based institute. We are conscious of our place in the tax space in the country, and we know we are a major stakeholder that will assist the government to achieve its revenue target. So to do that, we keep on building on our training. Our capacity development is robust. We have done a lot in the area of ICT. AI is so important, and we are doing a lot of training in this area, so that the country, we have the law, but the law will not operate itself. So we are the institute, and our members across the country are the ones who will execute this bill, whether those who are working in the revenue authority or the consultant out there. So we are conscious of this, and we have been doing a lot of training, making sure that we bring our members up to speed. And don't forget the fact that we've always been saying it over and over that taxation is an offshoot of the law. So once the law, anything that affects the law, we need to improve on our capacity to handle what is necessary. So on a monthly basis, regularly, we do that training. We are not, I can tell you that we are very strong in that area, and we are not ready to let that, because we owe a lot to the country, and we are ready to support the government to make sure that we get to the promised land.
Finally, Mr. President, the issue of increasing our tax ratio has been something that we've talked about ever since you've been appearing on this program, and we see that government is trying to improve what's been on ground. I think we're above 10% now, the last I could check. But what are you thinking around that too? Do you think that we could start to compete with our peers that are talking about other African countries? What are they doing that we are yet to do?
Well, I think beyond the noise and beyond the social media noise out there, I was present on the day President Tinubu inaugurated the Presidential Committee, and I listened to him very carefully. He didn't hide his expectation that he will want the country to move from 10% to 18% in the nearest future. That's a material leap, if you ask me. But I tell you, it is possible if and when we do the issue of VAT. But beyond VAT, I know that even personal income tax, the various state government will get a lot of benefit from that, because what is in that bill, what has been contained in that bill will help the various state government. So I don't see us having difficulties in moving to 18% once everything is done. But of importance, and we need to keep on saying this from time to time, is that it is not enough to collect taxes from the people. What is key and what will engender confidence of the people is when you spend this money and people, the populace, the taxpayer can see that you are spending this money for the development of the country. Once this is done, then we bring about voluntary compliance. And of course, once there's voluntary compliance, the trajectory will be moving at the upward trend.
Well, it's a good way to live it. Thank you so much. Mr. Samuel Agbeluyi is the president of the Chartered Institute of Taxation of Nigeria. Thank you so much. Do enjoy your weekend.
Thank you very much. Thank you for having me.
All right, then. Well, let's take a break. And when we come back, Efionga Ekop will be speaking to me around markets. We'll examine the figures for the week. Don't go away.